Welcome to the deep dive. We take the sources you're interested in and basically pull out the key knowledge you need.
The goal is always to help you learn quickly, thoroughly, but without that feeling of being overwhelmed.
Exactly. And today, we're diving into a real classic, one you shared with us, Sun Tzu's Art of War.
The text we looked at covers all 13 chapters.
Yeah, right from the start, CGDE, that's laying plans, all the way to the end, Yongzhen Shisin, which is the use of spies.
And, we think of it as this ancient military book, which, sure, it is.
Right.
But what's amazing is how the wisdom in it just goes way beyond the battlefield. You see it in business, strategy, even like negotiations.
Totally. So our mission today, let's pull out those key insights, the really enduring stuff from Sun Tzu. Give you that thorough understanding, those aha moments, without getting stuck in the weeds of ancient warfare.
Sounds good. Let's jump in.
Okay, starting right at the beginning. Chapter 1, Shi Jidiye, laying plans. Wow, he does not mess around.
No, he really doesn't.
He says, warfare is a matter of vital importance. Life or death, survival or ruin. It has to be studied thoroughly. I mean, talk about setting the tone.
Absolutely. In this chapter, it really lays the foundation for everything else. It's all about meticulous planning before you do anything.
Right.
He introduces these 5 constant factors. There's Dao.
Moral influence, the kind of
Yeah,
unity.
exactly. Or unity.
Yeah.
Then Tian.
Weather and timing.
Yep. Dia, that's terrain. Jiang is leadership.
Got it.
And finally, Fek, which means, discipline, organization, the whole system.
So understanding these is crucial for victory.
He basically says victory hinges on it. Think of them as pillars for any big project, not just war. You need that shared purpose, the right timing, good positioning, solid leadership, and clear rules.
Okay, so it's about really knowing your situation and your opponents deeply.
Yes, it's not superficial. He talks about Aishi, comparing everything in detail to figure out the likely outcome.
Like a checklist before you even start. Who's got the better leader? Who knows the terrain?
Exactly that. And once you've assessed those 5 factors, the next step is this pre-battle calculation. Yes, one.
Yeah.
He says those who calculate more favorable conditions beforehand are more likely to win. The winner is often decided before the fighting even starts, based on this analysis.
And then comes that really famous line, all warfare is based on deception. Bingzi, Gong Dao Yin.
A classic.
He lists examples, right? Seem weak when you're strong, seem far when you're near. It's about messing with the enemy's head.
Yeah, but it's deception with a purpose. It's not just tricks for fun.
Right.
He lists specific goals. Lure them, take advantage, make them prep in the wrong place, avoid their strengths, annoy them, make them arrogant, tire them out, split them up.
Wow.
And crucially, attack when they're unprepared, strike where they least expect it. So it's about controlling the whole situation, making them react to your script.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's move to chapter 2, Zozan the Air, waging war. This feels more practical, like the nuts and bolts. And the cost.
Oh, absolutely. He details the immense resources needed, all these chariots, armored soldiers, logistics over long distances. It sounds exhausting just reading it.
And he warns about it, doesn't he? Long campaigns are bad news.
Definitely. He talks about the huge daily spending and how drawn-out wars just dull morale, exhaust everyone, deplete the treasury, and leave you open to attack from others.
This is where he says that weird thing, clumsy speed, Zusu, is better than skillful long wars. Seems backward, right?
It does at first glance, but his logic is solid. Long wars just cost too much in lives, resources, everything. The risks pile up. He literally says no country has ever benefited from a prolonged war. It's a stark warning.
And he's big on living off the enemy, isn't he?
Huge emphasis on that. Get food from the enemy. He even gives that ratio. 1 measure of enemy food is worth 20 of your own.
20? That's massive.
It's about easing the burden on your own people and hitting the enemy twice. He also talks about using captured stuff, rewards, vehicles, even soldiers right away. Very practical.
So the main point here is Bukisheng, win fast, don't drag it out.
Precisely. Swift victory is the goal. He ends by reminding the general how much responsibility they have, people's lives, the nation's security. It sets up this whole approach of efficiency and minimizing your own losses.
All right, chapter 3, Mogajishen, attack by stratagem. This seems to be about winning smart, maybe without even fighting.
That's the ideal, yeah. The very first line says, taking a country whole wei sheng, Kuang wu wei sheng, is way better than destroying it.
It's a sophisticated idea for a war manual.
It is. He ranks the goals. Whole country beats broken country. Whole army beats broken army. His highest praise is for subduing the enemy without a fight. 不胜而不能自兵，胜之胜之也. That's the pinnacle of skill.
And he has an order for how to attack strategically.
Yes. First, attack their strategy. 法谋. If that doesn't work, attack their alliances. 法治. Then attack their army. 法兵. And only as a last resort, attack their cities. 攻城.
Sieges are bad.
He calls siege warfare a disaster. Months of prep, terrible casualties. Avoid it if you possibly can. Always look for the smarter, less bloody way.
He also gets into numbers, right? Like 10 to 1 odds, surround them. 5 to 1, attack.
Very specific ratios. 10 to 1, surround. 5 to 1, attack. Double, divide their forces.
But if you're outnumbered,
Then you need to be smart. Equal numbers, you might fight. Fewer, evade. Much weaker, just avoid them entirely. Don't be stubborn if the odds are stacked against you. Know when to fold them, basically.
and the general's role comes up again. He calls the general of the states its support.
A crucial support. A strong general means a strong state. A weak one means trouble. He warns rulers not to meddle.
Right, telling the army when to advance or retreat, getting involved in internal stuff. He saw that as harmful.
Absolutely. Micromanagement from the top causes confusion, doubt, and opens the door for the enemy. Give the commander room to command.
He then lists 5 ways to know you'll win. Knowing when to fight, understanding the forces, unity, preparedness, and a good general the ruler doesn't interfere with,
It all circles back to assessment, unity, and good leadership.
which leads perfectly into that monster quote, Sivusi Jean Budai.
Know the enemy, know yourself, and you'll never be in peril in 100 battles. Can't get much clearer than that.
And he adds, if you only know yourself, you win some, lose some. If you know neither, well, good luck.
Yeah, you're toast. It's all about intelligence and self-awareness.
Okay, Chapter 4, Joycine DC, Tactical Dispositions. This sounds like how you set up your pieces on the board.
That's a good way to put it. The core idea is onqi, shinwei bukisheng, imfedi yujizi sheng. First, make yourself unbeatable. Then, wait for the enemy to make themselves beatable. Invincibility comes from you. Victory comes from the enemy's mistakes.
You can guarantee your own defense, but not force a win.
Exactly. You make yourself a fortress, and then you wait for them to leave an opening.
He uses some great images here. Defense is like hiding deep underground. Offense like striking from the sky.
Yeah, vivid stuff. Defense means you don't have quite enough strength yet, or you're conserving it. Offense means you have a surplus, an advantage to press.
And the goal isn't necessarily some heroic, bloody battle.
No. He says real skill is winning easily won battles. Those big, dramatic fights might look impressive, but the smart commander wins before it gets to that point against an enemy who's already vulnerable. Less glory, maybe, but guaranteed success.
Victorious armies win first and then seek battle. Defeated armies battle first and then seek victory. That sums it up.
Perfectly. It's all about the preparation and positioning, creating the conditions for victory.
He even has this 5-step calculation. Shu, land estimation. Sul, sword troops. Shu, troops. Shun, comparing strengths. And finally, Shin, the probability of winning. Almost like math.
It's very analytical. He stresses comparing your strength to the enemy's, like comparing a huge weight to a tiny one. Zoo. If you've done your homework, the advantage should be overwhelming.
And the result is like pent-up water bursting through.
Exactly. Unstoppable momentum.
Which brings us nicely to Chapter 5. Oshu, Bongshidi, energy. This sounds like it's about that momentum.
Precisely. Generating and controlling that force. He starts by saying managing huge armies is like managing small ones. It just needs good organization, shu, from shu, and clear signals, himing.
And this is where Qijing comes in. Orthodox and unorthodox tactics.
Yes, that's key here. You need both to ensure your army can withstand the enemy. The zheng is your main direct force, the one the enemy sees and engages with.
And the shu.
That's the surprise element, the unexpected maneuver, the flanking attack, the clever feint. He says, engage with the orthodox, win with the unorthodox.
So it's the combination.
It's the combination, the predictable and the unpredictable working together. He says the variations are endless, like seasons changing or tastes differing, always adaptable.
He uses those great analogies, rushing water moving boulders, a hawk striking fast. That's Xing, momentum.
Yes, that's momentum or potential energy. A skilled commander builds up this dangerous momentum, Xing, and then unleashes it with precise timing, Shi Dim.
Like a drawn crossbow suddenly firing.
Exactly that image. It's about building pressure and then releasing it decisively at the right moment. Overwhelming force applied smartly.
He also mentions keeping order even when things look chaotic. Discipline, morale, training are key.
Yes, maintaining that inner strength and structure, and also manipulating the enemy, making them move by showing them a tempting target, but being ready for whatever they do.
It's about creating the situation, not just relying on soldiers being heroes.
Right. Use the momentum you create. Like rolling logs downhill, they move because of the slope and the push, not because the log itself is trying hard.
Okay, Chapter 6, Jushi Dilu, weak points and strong, exploiting vulnerabilities.
Exactly. Starting with the simple advantage. Get there first. The rested army has a huge edge over the weary one.
And the goal is, zero there, zero and make them come to you.
Yes. Control the rhythm. Don't be reactive. Make them react. Lure them with bait. Obstruct them. Guide their movements.
Attack where they aren't defending. Defend what they must attack.
That's the core. Find the gaps and make your own moves invisible. Ziuxing, your plan silent. Ziuxing. Control their fate by being unpredictable.
So if you want to fight, attack something they can't afford to lose.
Precisely. Force their hand.
And if you don't want to fight,
Mislead them. Uti? Send them off on a wild goose chase.
be formless yourself while shaping the enemy.
Imatsin.
Yeah, so you can concentrate your strength where you need it, while they have to spread out to defend everywhere. 10 against 1 locally, even if overall numbers are even.
Because the more they defend, the weaker they are at any single point.
Exactly. And knowing the time and place of battle is critical. If you know, you can concentrate forces even from far away. If you don't, you're just reacting piecemeal.
Even a big army isn't scary if it's clueless and scattered.
Right. You probe them, assess their plans, figure out where they're strong and weak. Ultimate skill. Be formless. Like water. Always adapting. No fixed rules in war.
Chapter 7, Jonesing, Maneuvering. This sounds like the struggle for position.
It is. The difficulty, he says, is making the roundabout routes seem direct, turning a disadvantage into an advantage. Outsmarting them on the march.
Pretty much. Lure them with a benefit, make them think they're taking a shortcut, but you get there first, even via a longer path.
But this maneuvering, Jonesing, is risky too.
Very risky. He warns about forced marches, leaving supply trains behind, the exhaustion, the casualties. Long forced marches can destroy an army before it even sees the enemy.
And supplies are vital. No food, no stores, you're doomed.
Absolutely. Need supplies, need to know allies' plans, need guides, need to understand the terrain.
He has those amazing descriptions here. Swift as wind, orderly as a forest.
Fierce as fire, steadfast as a mountain, hidden as shadow, sudden as thunder. Yeah, captures the ideal perfectly.
And practical stuff too, like using drums and flags.
To keep everyone coordinated. Make sure the brave don't rush ahead alone, the timid don't lag behind. Unity of action.
And manage morale.
Yeah.
Avoid their peak energy.
Yes, avoid them when they're fired up. Sahoki, strike when they're tired or heading home. Exploit their psychology.
Use your order against their chaos, your calm against their panic.
Your proximity against their distance, your rest against their fatigue, your full bellies against their hunger, always leveraging your state against their weakness.
And then a list of don'ts. Don't attack uphill, don't chase fake retreats, leave an escape route.
All about tactical common sense. Don't corner a desperate enemy too tightly. Avoid unnecessary risks.
Okay, Chapter 8. Woof T. Jengbian Diba. Variation in tactics. Adaptation seems key here.
Crucial. A general must understand the advantages of adaptation, but Jingbian. If you don't, knowing the terrain or the basic principles won't help you. You need flexibility.
Considering both the good and the bad outcomes.
Always. Think about the benefits to build trust. Think about the potential harms so you can solve problems before they happen.
and rely on your own readiness, not hope the enemy messes up.
Yes, don't count on them not coming. Count on being ready when they do. Don't hope they won't attack. Make sure you can't be successfully attacked.
Then he lists those 5 dangerous faults in a general. Recklessness.
Recklessness, recklessness, cowardice, 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 quick temper, Sun Tzu, being too touchy about honor, and being too compassionate towards the troops.
Too compassionate.
Yeah, it's fascinating. If it prevents necessary discipline or hard decisions, it can be fatal. These are flaws the enemy can exploit. A reckless general can be lured into a trap, a quick-tempered one provoked, and so on.
Gotcha. Chapter 9, Xingjin Dijing, the army on the march. This gets super specific about terrain and reading the enemy.
Incredibly detailed. Where to camp in mountains, near rivers, marshes, plains, always high ground, sunny spots, near resources. He even says the legendary Yellow Emperor used these principles.
Avoid ravines, enclosed spaces. Scout carefully for ambushes.
Absolutely. And then there's that whole section on interpreting enemy signs. It's like a spy manual.
Yeah. Quiet camp means they trust the terrain. Dust clouds tell you if it's chariots or infantry.
Moving trees mean they're advancing. Startled birds mean an ambush. Humble words, but lots of prep means they're about to attack. Strong words, but they advance tentatively. They're actually retreating.
It's amazing observational detail. Pay attention to everything.
Even things like officers getting angry means the troops are weary. If they start eating their horses, they're out of food. It's all about reading the signs.
And he touches on discipline. Again, build rapport, then enforce rules. Kindness and discipline together.
Crucial balance. Neither works well on its own.
Chapter 10. Dixing Di Shi. Terrain. More on terrain, but maybe the strategic types.
Yes, 6 types. Sinks, accessible, gua entangling, contentious.
8. Narrow, Xinjian precipitous, and Yingnan distant.
And for each, specific advice, like inaccessible terrain, grab the high ground. In narrow passes, occupy it first and defend hard.
He also lists 6 ways armies get defeated: rout, stampede, collapse.
It's Xinjian. Xinjian Shan. Xinjian Dimi.
And he's clear. These aren't acts of God, they're the general's fault. Ouch. Strong words. Blames poor leadership, bad assessments, weak discipline.
Exactly. He hammers home that understanding terrain, assessing the enemy, figuring out victory. That's the top general's job. Know it, use it, you win. Ignore it, you lose.
And he says a general should fight if victory is certain, even if the ruler says no.
And not fight if it isn't, even if the ruler orders it. The general's loyalty is to protecting the people and benefiting the state, not blind obedience.
Treat soldiers well, like children, so they'll follow you anywhere. But if they're spoiled and undisciplined, they're useless.
Right. Love them, but demand obedience. Knowing your troops, the enemy, and the terrain, that's the path to complete victory.
Okay, chapter 11. Shi. The 9 grounds, even more terrain types.
9 this time.
And
Based purely on strategic implications, like Steamdi, dispersive ground where troops might scatter easily, versus Sindi, desperate ground where there's no escape.
And different advice for each. Don't fight on dispersive, do fight on desperate.
Exactly. No halting on facile ground, don't attack on contentious ground, form alliances on crossroads ground. It's highly specific to the situation.
Keep the enemy from coordinating, seize what they value, be fast, be surprising.
And the deeper you go into enemy territory, the more unified your own troops become, because they have no choice. Put them in desperate spots and they'll fight like demons.
Necessity breeds courage.
Precisely. When facing death, everyone tries their hardest. He uses the Schwarin snake analogy again: attack one part, the rest responds instantly. That's the ideal unity.
And it comes from good leadership and exploiting the situation, not just pep talks.
Right. The general needs to be calm, inscrutable, fair, disciplined. Keep the enemy guessing, move unpredictably. Put your army in danger sometimes, that's part of the job.
It's a deep understanding of psychology and strategy linked to the environment.
Very much so. Different ground demands different tactics.
Chapter 12, Hong Di Share, attack by fire. Pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. 5 types of fire attack: burning people, supplies, baggage, arsenals, transport lines.
Needs the right conditions, though. Dry weather, wind.
Yes, timing is key. Dry weather, Tianzi's out you, even specific constellations associated with wind. And know how to react if fire starts inside their camp, attack from outside. Use the wind, don't attack downwind.
Fire attacks are illuminating. Water attacks are strengthening for isolation. But water doesn't destroy supplies like fire can.
Good distinction. And a crucial warning at the end: Don't win with fire and then just sit there. Secure your gains. That's all you, fade you, wasteful lingering.
Act only for benefit. Fight only when necessary. Don't let anger or resentment drive decisions.
Because anger passes, but a destroyed nation doesn't come back. Wise rulers are cautious, the Shen. Good generals are vigilant. That secures the state.
And finally, Chapter 13, Yongjin Dishisan, the use of spies, intelligence gathering.
Absolutely critical. He basically says, neglecting intelligence because you're cheap or worried about rank is inhuman and guarantees failure.
Foreknowledge, Shens, is everything, and it comes from people, from spies.
Not from spirits or calculations, but from human intelligence. He lists 5 types. Local spies, Shengjin, inside spies, Onojin, double agents, Shenjin,
Doomed spies who spread false info, and surviving spies who report back. Oh, Shengjin.
Using all 5 cleverly is Shin, divine orchestration, a ruler's treasure.
Use locals, turn enemy officials, bribe enemy spies to become double agents.
Exactly. And extreme secrecy is paramount. Spies are the closest people to the commander, receive the highest rewards, handle the most secret tasks, requires wisdom, subtlety.
Identify key enemy personnel commanders, aides, guards, and task spies with finding out about them.
And the double agent, the Zhang, Fenjin, is especially crucial. They're your key to unlocking the other types and getting reliable information. Treat them very well.
He cites historical examples, Yi Ji and Liu Ya, who used spies to help dynasties rise.
Showing it's not just theory. Superior intelligence wins wars. It's the foundation for every move the army makes.
Wow. Okay, that was quite the journey through the art of war. It really is amazing how relevant so much of it still feels.
Isn't it? Planning, resources, psychology, information. These things are timeless, whether you're on a battlefield or in a boardroom.
Definitely not just history. Hopefully everyone listening got some of those aha moments.
Yeah, it offers this incredible framework for thinking about competition, strategy, achieving goal, really in any field.
So here's a final thought to maybe mull over. Sun Tzu puts huge emphasis on that pre-battle calculation and using deception. How could those ideas apply to a challenge, maybe a negotiation or a project that you're facing right now?
Good question. It really makes you think about preparation and controlling the narrative in your own life.
Definitely worth considering. We encourage you to dig deeper into the art of war if this sparked your interest. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us today.